Hi everyone, welcome to a new Notion planning video for the end of the year. If you're new here, this is basically a tradition on my channel at this point. Every single end of the year, I make some sort of like Notion goal setting video. But this year it's special because I'm showing you not one, not two, but 3 templates. Basically, I created 3 goal setting and task management templates for the 3 different goal setting personalities, which I have a whole video about. I talked in depth about every single one and how each one should be setting goals. So if you want to watch that in detail, the link will be down below somewhere. In this video, I'll give like a very brief summary, but I wanted to make it 2 separate videos because there's a lot. Basically, I started making a template for myself, but I recently finished a yoga teacher training, and in that training, we spent a lot of time learning about Ayurveda and the 3 different personalities. I was creating my template and I was like, oh my god, I am so clearly this personality when it comes to goal setting, but what about the other 2? How do they plan goals? How do they, like, this would not work for them. So I started creating another system for the different personalities, and yeah, now I have 3 templates and I'm very excited to share. I think this is definitely one of my favorite templates ever, and I like it because it's not just goals, it's like tied in with task management. So that's the page that you come back to every single day, because I had a goal template last year and it was good. It was amazing. I loved that template. But the lesson that I learned with that template was because it was a separate page, I didn't check it that often. And if you're not looking at your goals like every day, you're gonna forget some of them even exist. So that's one of the reasons I love this one so much, is because this type of page is the page that will be like your main Notion page. Okay, let's start with a quick little summary of the 3 personalities. Basically, there are 3 goal setting personalities: the visionary one, the disciplined one, and the intentional one. The visionary one is the one that wants to set a lot of goals. They have a lot of ideas. They're very quick. Like, they're very quick to change what they want. They'll set a bunch of goals, and in a month they'll have like 10 new goals they want to work on, and they'll abandon the ones they set initially. So they're constantly setting new goals and starting new goals, but not really finishing anything. The disciplined one is, as is in the name, very disciplined. They're very ambitious, very driven. They're goal getters. They probably take the most action out of the 3 personalities, but they get very burnt out. They get very stressed. They don't know when to stop. And also, they tend to be not very balanced in life. Like, they kind of focus on career and health and not the other areas of life, because the other areas of life seem like pointless goals to set. Like, a spiritual goal is pointless for them to set. They're very focused on the goal and achievement rather than the process. And our third one is the intentional one. The intentional one sets like 1 to 5 goals, and they're very clear on what they want in life, and they're very patient. So they're okay with setting like 3 yearly goals and just having the same goal for the whole year, but they're the ones that if they start something, they will finish it. It's hard for them to start, but once they have the momentum, they're good. Okay, that was like the quickest summary I could do of the 3 personalities, but if you want to know more in detail, like I said, I have a whole video, and I really recommend to watch that if you're considering getting any of the templates, because you know, you want to be able to know which template is going to work best for you. Next thing I want to talk about is the overall structure of all the databases, because in general they have a lot in common, and they even look really similar in the beginning, but it's all the different views that are different in each one. But the overall structure of the databases is quite similar. So all of them are going to have a long-term vision, which is like 5 to 20 years, however long you decide. Then they're going to have a yearly vision and quarterly vision. After that, that's where they start differing. So one of them is just going to go as far as quarterly goals. One of them is going to go as detailed as weekly goals. So that's where they start to differ, and that's where I'm going to go in detail in each single one and explain to you how they differ. And also, last thing I want to say is there is a very big difference between a vision and a goal, and in these templates it's really important to know that difference. So a vision is more how you want to feel, and a goal is more like how you're gonna get there. So I use this example in the personalities video, but a yearly vision could be something like, my body feels healthy and fit and I have a lot of energy. And a goal related to that vision could be something like, fix my sleeping schedule, or start working out regularly, or start yoga. So the vision is what you're aiming for, like what feeling, what overall picture are you seeing in your life, and the goal is just how you get there. Okay, let's start with a very quick brief overview of the 3 pages. This is the visionary one, this is the disciplined one, and this is the intentional one. Design wise, they look very similar, but the views and the databases are different on all of them. So for example, you'll see here in the visionary one, we have our routines front and center, and we have our tasks that are overdue and tasks that are not scheduled. Whereas in the disciplined one, you can see the progress of your goals, goals. There's a little bucket list. You can see the tasks of your goals. So the design of them might look quite similar, but this is because I wanted to keep it as basic as possible. I'm just giving you kind of the system, the databases, and all the templates within each database. Okay, so I'm gonna start by showing you guys the databases of all the templates, the ones that they have in common, and then we're gonna move on to showing you all the little extra pages because I added a bunch of little tools and resources. So for example, goal prioritization for when you don't know what goal to focus on, or task prioritization when you're overwhelmed and you don't know what you should do next, routines, bucket list, staying on track. That is like my favorite page of them all. There's a lot of extra resources that we're gonna go through, but let's start with the databases that all of the templates have in common. So I'm gonna stay on the visionary one page just because it's the first one, but keep in mind these databases are on all the pages. So the first database that we have is the life vision. This is the main big vision you have for the next 5 to 10 to 20 years. And these are the things that you want to achieve in every single area of your life. So we have like the life vision for career and business, finance and wealth. These are not my goals and visions, by the way. I'm still working on setting that, and I'm filming videos of that whole process. So yeah, this is something you would be aiming for long term. You can see it broken down by different areas of your life like this, and you can also prioritize. And then once you prioritize what life visions you want to focus on this year, you create your yearly vision, your quarterly vision, and then depending on the different goal personalities, it then might be broken down into monthly and weekly goals. So the visionary one has monthly and weekly goals, the discipline one has only monthly goals, and the intentional one only has quarterly goals. And also we have a database for the quarters and the months. So if you want to see your progress, so for example, you can go in January, you can see what goals you set in January, what weekly goals you set in January, and what tasks you had to get done. So if you want like a quick little overview, you also have these databases to check on your stuff. Now I want to show you the extra pages. So the first thing I want to show you is how you actually set this up. You don't even have to know how these databases are connected. There is a start here button on every single one of the templates that will guide you through step by step, filling out your life vision, then your yearly vision, and so on. There's also going to be a button that will guide you through setting goals for the new quarter and setting goals for the new month, and so on. So you can see we have different steps on filling this out, and this is just like a guide so that when you get the templates, you're not kind of lost on how the hell do I start filling out these databases. This will literally take you step by step. And if you're planning for a new quarter, for example, there's going to be a whole other list of steps here, so you don't have to fully understand the databases completely. Oh, and I didn't show you like the main database of them all, the task management database. Okay, so the tasks page is very simple. We have the date that we're supposed to do something, the actual task, whether it's complete or not, the urgency, importance, and if there is a due date. And we have a lot of different views. So for example, we have our inbox here, which are basically tasks that you haven't assigned a due date for. So if I go ahead and I start filling all this out and I assign this a due date, it will automatically leave this list. And this is also for the tasks that you add from the main page. So for example, if you're on the main page and you add a new task, it will automatically go into the inbox. So the inbox is something that you have to sort through. Here we have our upcoming tasks. So this is first sorted by due date and then by urgency and importance. So for example, if I put this as the same due date, see it's the 22nd and 22nd, and I put this as high urgency and high importance, it's automatically gonna place itself higher. Then we have our tasks related to goals. So within our goal database, we can create tasks that are specifically only related to the goal. And here, if for example, you have some free time, it's a weekend or it's the evening and you know that you have an hour to work on your goals, you can go on this page and see the small, tiny steps you can take right now to get closer to your goals. So it is grouped by the different goals that you have. Then you can see the tasks that you have to do today, tasks that you have to do tomorrow, and tasks that you have to do in the next 7 days. Then you can also see the overdue tasks, which are tasks that haven't been completed but the due date has passed, unscheduled tasks, and also you can have a brief overview of all your due dates. Now I want to show you the extra pages I created as little tools and resources to stay on track and to keep your life more balanced. So these extra pages are going to be included in all 3 of the templates, even though some personalities need specific pages more than others, but I just wanted to include all of them for everyone because at the end of the day, even if we do fall into like a very vague personality type, we're still all different people. We all need different things. I included all the extra pages, but feel free to delete whatever you end up not using. So let's start with the staying on track page. This is honestly one of my favorite pages I've ever created in my life. I always tend to like fall behind on my tasks, or like I won't use Notion for like 2 days and then everything will just be messed up because I'll have like a bunch of overdue tasks and this is not updated and this is not updated, and I just feel like it was hard for me to stay on track. So this page basically just lets you see wherever you're falling behind, but it also shows you where it doesn't make sense in the databases. So I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. But we have overdue tasks, schedule ASAP, completed or outdated, in progress, and latest activity. There's a little explanation of all three of them for when you're using the page and you need a little reminder of what that view does. But let's start. Overdue tasks is very simple. It basically just lets you see what tasks you haven't completed that are overdue. Schedule ASAP shows you two kinds of tasks. So it shows you the tasks that either have a due date, but you haven't actually scheduled a date to complete that task. So that is literally a missed deadline waiting to happen. So this is really nice because sometimes you have so many tasks that you don't even see the tasks that have deadlines, you know, like they get lost in the list. So here it's basically highlighted like, hey, you have these tasks that have a deadline, but you don't even know when you're doing it. Like, figure that out. And then it also shows you the tasks that have a high urgency and high importance, because obviously if they're really important, they really should be scheduled ASAP. So this is a really nice page to just check up on your task and make sure that you're prioritizing the right things. Next, we have completed or outdated. So this view shows you both a database error that you can check and also a personal error that you can check. So the database error that it shows you is, imagine you have a monthly goal and that monthly goal is related to some specific tasks, and these tasks, if you check them, they are checked as done. So it automatically says that all your tasks are 100% done. If one of these tasks wasn't done, it would automatically show you that the completed tasks is 50%. So imagine you have a goal that you completed all the tasks for, but the status is still not started. So this basically reminds you like, hey, update your status to done, or if you're not done, add some new tasks. So for example, if I add a new task right here, this is gonna disappear from this database because now I have a next action step. So this is gonna catch you out on those goals that you have no next action step. If you don't have a next action step, you're likely to forget about that goal or leave it behind. So this reminds you to either update the status or add a new task. So if this view, like completed or outdated, if it's empty, that means it's good. That means all of your goals have a next action step, and it means all of your goals have their status updated. Then we have in progress, which just shows you a database error. So this just shows you that you have these monthly goals, which are 50% done, 66% done, but the status is still not started. So if you just update this to in progress, it automatically leaves this view. And our last view is latest activity. This is the only view that will never be empty because it just sorts your goals by the latest activity. So here you can check when the last time you worked on this goal was. So this is automatic by the task. If I go now and change this to like the 4th of October, it's gonna now automatically change to 4th of October, and it's gonna say that I haven't worked on that goal in over 2 months. So this is just a way to keep track. I freaking love this page. I just like the idea that these 4 pages, you always have to aim to have them empty. And if you have them empty, it means you're on track. And this page is just there to just kind of check up what haven't I worked on in a while. Our next page is goal prioritization, and you use this page for any time that you're really struggling to focus what goals to prioritize in the month. So for example, if you have a set amount of goals and you're just like, look, I'm feeling very overwhelmed. There's no way I can do all of this. Like, life is just a little bit hectic right now, but I don't know what to prioritize. This page just basically helps you prioritize based on impact and effort. So if a goal is high impact and low effort, it's gonna be at the top, because obviously it just means it makes a big impact in your life and it's easy to do. So it's at the top, it's something you have to prioritize. So this is all automatic. So if you change these around, it's gonna show you what to focus on. I find this really helps because sometimes you really find yourself prioritizing the things that don't even have a big impact in your life. So you can also see the goals that you should definitely proceed with, the goals that you should maybe avoid for the time being. The next page we have is very similar, but it is task prioritization. So for any time you're feeling overwhelmed with all your tasks, you can change around the urgency and importance, and it will automatically shift the order that you should be doing those tasks. So it's still sorted by date first. But for example, these are all tasks that are supposed to be completed on the 18th of December. And you can see here that the tasks that have a high urgency and high importance are automatically on the top. If you want, this is a personal thing, but you can also just take out the due date sort if you just want to see it based on the importance and urgency. But I feel like this kind of messed up the dates a little bit, so I prefer it personally with the date. So here's a little nicer overview of this database. So you can see the tasks that you have to do first. These are all high urgency, high importance, and these are tasks that you should either avoid, do last, or do in your free time. So this will make you reflect on, maybe this task is not even worth doing. Like, it's low importance, low urgency, why am I doing this? Or if it's still something important for you, you can do it in your free time or just do it last. Going on to our next extra page, we have routines. This is the place to see your morning, night routine, whatever you have scheduled for today and whatever you have scheduled for tomorrow. So you can also include like your uni timetable, school timetable, your children's extracurriculars timetable. You can include anything in here. Based on the day that you put in here, it's gonna automatically show you what your plan is for today. Today's Saturday, so there's nothing on my uni timetable. I don't go to uni, but I just use that as an example. But if I, for example, change this to Saturday, then I'm gonna be able to see that, oh, today I have a lecture at 9 and then I have a meeting at 1. So it's gonna automatically update based on the day that you set for it. Our next page is the self-care page. This is the page for when you're feeling a certain way and you don't know what to do about it. So for example, you can write out all the different feelings you might feel throughout the day. So we have overwhelmed, stressed, sad, stuck, lonely, and we have different things to do for each emotion. And this could technically just be a list of things to do, but the reason why I wanted to make it separate like this was because not every activity helps in every emotion. For example, taking a nap really helps me when I'm stressed, but it really doesn't do anything for me when I'm sad. Like if I take a nap when I'm sad, I'm probably gonna wake up even sadder. So you can kind of see what works for you and what doesn't. And then after that, you'll literally have a personalized list on how to help yourself. The next page we have is a little bucket list, just because I feel like this always has to be included. It just keeps your life fun. It adds variety to your life. So these can be huge things like, I don't know, fly in a helicopter, and it could be something small like read a poetry book if you've never read a poetry book. And the last page we have is milestones. So this is basically a page just to see your completed goals. You can go look back and see what you've accomplished so far, and you can take a moment to be proud of yourself. So, oh, and then also we have areas. So this is the different areas of your life. You can rate them in the beginning of every quarter, and it keeps your life and goals more rounded. And you can also see your life vision for all the different areas of your life. And the last page we have here is planning. Planning is not a page that you would go to yourself. It's basically the page that gets created when you, for example, start planning a new quarter. So this page automatically goes into the planning database. So later in the year, maybe you want to look back at like what you plan to do in a specific week. You can open up the page and you can see what you plan to do for that week. This is just the place where the little guides go into. So the little start here button, the new quarter, new month, new week, that's where it goes into. Okay, so this basically gives you like a main overview of all the templates. From here on out, the only way they differ is they differ in all of the different views and also in the databases. So I'm gonna repeat this one more time. All of them have a long-term vision, a yearly vision, and a quarterly vision. Where they start differing is the visionary one is then broken down into monthly goals and weekly goals. The disciplined one is only broken down into monthly goals, and the intentional one just keeps it at quarterly goals. If you want to know why it works like this, go watch my personalities video. But basically, as a summary, I said in that video that the visionary one only needs to plan as far as monthly goals, the disciplined one only needs to plan as far as quarterly goals, and the intentional one only needs to plan as far as yearly goals. But I included that little extra step just to keep yourself more motivated, but you don't have to use that extra step. So now that we have all of that out the way, let's actually start by showing you the different templates. So the first one that we've been on this entire time actually is the visionary one. So for the visionary one, monthly goals work best best. And monthly goals are the goals that you set and you prioritize, and you try to figure out like which is my priority for January, which is my priority for February, and so on. But we then have weekly goals, which is just a breakdown of the monthly goals. So let's take this goal as an example, post 4 YouTube videos. So you can see that this is my monthly goal, but I then break it down into little weekly goals. So it's not that every week I'm setting completely new goals. No, it's just breaking down the monthly goals. So for example, here you can see I had the monthly goal of posting 4 YouTube videos, and I can then break it down into weeks. So 1 week I gotta post my morning routine video, 1 week I gotta post my Notion video, 1 week another video, and you can assign that goal to that specific week. So then when you go into that week, you have an overview of what has to be done that week in all your goals, in all your tasks. And then also you have the tasks that are associated to those weekly goals. So for example, to post my morning routine video, I have to first plan it, I have to record it. So for example, planning might be on one day, recording might be on another. So it's broken down that way. And then these tasks just show up on your main task page. And then you can also see what monthly goals you had in each quarter. So this is my January goals, February, March. Here you'll have April, May, June, and so on, so on. You can also click here to go between the pages. I just find it's a lot easier that way. But in the weekly goals page, you can see an overview of what has to be done this week. And this is automatic. This is like automatically filtered. There's a formula. You don't have to like update this all the time. So here you can also see the uncompleted weekly goals from the weeks before. So say for example, you're in week 3, but there's a couple of goals from the last weeks that you didn't do. You can just change these around. So you can just type in week 3 and remove week 1. Here you can see the weekly goals associated to their monthly goal. So a brief little explanation, these are basically sub items. So you can see a sub item is just I mean, it's in the name, I don't know how to describe it. It's a sub item. So we have like our goal right here, and the reason it's grayed out is because this is the monthly goal. So the monthly goal is grayed out. If you open this up, you'll see the weekly goals. The weekly goals are not grayed out because they're the weekly goals that you need to see. So for example, if you want to set a weekly goal for one of these, like for example, this monthly goal of posting 4 YouTube videos, I can go ahead and open this up and add a sub item and be like, okay, post morning flow. And then you can assign a week. So it's basically just an overview of everything. And here you can see your completed weekly goals. Also here you can see what week you're in. You don't have to change this filter. This updates automatically because there's like a formula and a filter. Just see what week you're in. It says week -1 because it's not January yet. Your guys' templates will start from January. For example, say this said week 7. You just open up your page. You're like, okay, I'm in week 7. Let me check what my weekly goals are. Okay, like I need to do this week. Let's add week 7. And it just makes things a little bit smoother so that you know where you're at. You don't have to check each week, like which week was it again? Like, are we in week 3, week 4? It's automatic. Here's all the buttons that I talked about earlier. So whenever it's a new quarter or a new month, you just press this button and it will automatically create a page in the planning database, and you're gonna step by step plan out your goals. And this is where, for example, you can set your measurable goals. So for example, this monthly goal, let's just say we're starting at 40, our current is 500, and my goal is 900. When you're then working on that goal, you'll be able to see like, oh, I have 53% progress. Then on this main page, we have our inbox of tasks, which are just tasks sorted by the date that has to get done. Then we have tasks that we have to do today, tasks that we have to do tomorrow. I obviously didn't fill this out, but let's just pretend there's a task. And then tasks that you need to prioritize. So tasks that you haven't set urgency or importance for, if you just fill this out, they'll automatically leave this list. So it's for any time that you're quickly brain dumping a bunch of tasks. This just reminds you like, hey, you're not usually good at prioritizing, so let's take a moment to prioritize. Then we have our morning and night routine. The reason why I have this here is because the visionary one is the one out of the 3 personalities that tends to not usually have a routine, and it's the one that needs it the most. So I kept it on the main page. So even if you don't check it often, it's just like a reminder like, hey, I have a specific routine that I'm following, and if I want to be successful with all my goals, if I want to just like do what's best for me, I need to follow this routine. So it's almost kind of a reminder, but it's also a way to see your routine. Then we have the tasks associated to the goals. So all of these tasks are specifically associated to goals. So like I said earlier, like if you have like a free day or you have like 2 hours of free time and you're like, maybe I should work a little bit on my goals, you can see specifically just the tasks that are associated to a specific goal. And here you can also change the goal around if you need to. Here we have the overdue tasks, which is very important for the visionary one because they get distracted easily and they miss deadlines. So this is very important for the visionary one. And also a little schedule view. So this is what we saw in the staying on track. This is stuff that you have to schedule ASAP, things that have a due date or things that are high urgency and high importance. And then if we scroll down, we're gonna see our main life vision, yearly vision, quarterly vision. This is showing you your priorities. So like, for example, if I go into my life vision, you're gonna see that there's a lot of things. So you might be like, why am I only seeing 5? That's because in the initial setup, which is right here on this button, you're gonna prioritize which things you wanna work on this year. So these are life vision things, but these are life vision things that you're working on this year specifically. So I wanted to keep this here so that it's always kind of in view. Like even if you're up here planning your tasks, you get a little sneak peek of the vision and it reminds you what you're doing everything for. Then we have our yearly vision here, which is more specific than this one, quarterly vision, which is even more specific. And then down here, I just included this because I thought everybody should have this, but it's just a way to see what you have to do today, what you have to do tomorrow, what you have to do in the next 7 days, and the tasks that are overdue. Again, I kept it up here and down here because the visionary one really needs that as a reminder. They tend to usually miss a bunch of deadlines. And then down here we have the databases, which you should not touch just in case. Okay, moving on to the disciplined one. The main difference, there are no weekly goals, but everything else is still the same. So we have monthly goals just the same way. And here in the monthly goals, it's just associated to tasks. So you don't break it down into weekly goals. And honestly, I wouldn't even recommend weekly goals for the disciplined one because the disciplined one loves planning and it loves structure. And when it starts planning the weekly goals, it goes into too much planning to the point where you're kind of wasting time. Like the visionary one needs it because the visionary one is like all over the place. But the disciplined one is disciplined enough to not need the weekly goals. But of course, if you want them, just use the visionary one. In terms of the layout, I put the self-care up at the top because the disciplined one is the one that doesn't want to use this page, but it's the one that needs it the most. So if you think you're the disciplined one, please use the self-care page, please. Like you need it. And I also put the areas and milestones up at the top because the disciplined one is the one that usually has a disbalance in all the different areas of their life. They tend to prioritize career and like skills, but they don't prioritize like relationships and stuff. Obviously not always, but sometimes. I just kept this up at the top to have a little reminder of like go in and check what your rating is, what you need to work on, etc. And also the milestones because disciplined one loves to see what they've achieved. It's a great way to motivate them. And then all the pages are the same, they're just kind of in a different order. The difference we have in the main database that we see here is in the visionary one, we have the prioritize, which the disciplined one doesn't need as much because they're very action based. So they don't even always need to have these little urgency things. Like sometimes this could even be empty. The disciplined one doesn't really care. Like it's gonna get it done anyway. So it doesn't always need to prioritize. Obviously you can if you want to, but you don't have to. If you want to prioritize, you still can. You just go into task prioritization, but it doesn't have to be on the first main page because it's not what they need. So we have a view of the progress here, which is only on the disciplined one. So these are the measurable goals that we have. So if we go into monthly goals, you'll be able to see all the number stuff here. So again, if you have like a specific target for something, this will automatically show you the progress and it's gonna show up right here. The disciplined one loves numbers and anything that can be measured, so I thought this was really important to keep at the top. A morning and night routine, this is not here because they need it. This is here because they usually love it. The disciplined one is usually the most structured of all the personalities. They're the ones that like love routine. So it's here just because they like it, not because they need it. And then also we have our little bucket list here just for ideas for the times that they're just overworking themselves. So for the times that you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed and you just feel like you've been working too much, but you don't even know how to rest. First of all, you can either go on self-care or you can go to the bucket list page, which will just show you the different ways you can add variety in your life. And then down here we have our life vision, yearly vision, quarterly vision, just like in the visionary one. But then we also have rest, which I wanted to keep on the main page for the discipline one because like I said, they don't like to take it, but they should. We just have a quick overview of what to do when you're overwhelmed, stressed, lonely. And yeah, that is the main difference for the design of the page. So moving on to the intentional one. The intentional one is the simplest page by far because they don't need that much. They're fine with setting yearly goals. So here the main difference is there are no monthly goals, there are no weekly goals. There's just a life vision, yearly vision, and quarterly goals. Something I want to mention as well, for anyone doing the 12-week year, if you don't want to do the whole personalities thing, like if you're just like, I don't care what personality I am, I want to do the 12-week year, because the 12-week year is a very famous thing. If you want to do the 12-week year, do the intentional one, because the intentional one is set up basically for the 12-week year. Like you can do the 12-week year with this. So that is the main difference in the databases. They only go as far as quarterly goals. And then based on the quarterly goals, you still have the tasks to break it down, because it's very important for the intentional one to break it down. And in terms of the design, the main difference is, first of all, we have the prioritizing function as well, which I personally think is important for the intentional one. Due dates. The intentional one is the worst out of the three with deadlines. So we just have this up front and center just to remind you, like, look, you got due dates, you got things to do. It's like a reminder, like check your due dates, make sure everything is scheduled, you know. Then we have the goal tasks. This is the same on all of them. This is just your tasks that are associated to a goal. Last activity. This comes from the staying on track, but I thought it was really important for the intentional one because you got to see like what have you not worked on in a very long time. So I thought this should be on the main page because it's something they should check quite often. And then this is the only personality where I included the life and year vision in the front, because for them their vision is so important, and they tend to lack motivation, like I mentioned in my personalities video. So it's there front and center for the times that you come onto Notion, you see your to-do list, and you're like, ugh, I don't want to do anything, like why am I even doing this, like da 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 da. Open up your life vision and you will get a very clear reminder. And then we also have the bucket list, and this is really important for the intentional one. Like for the disciplined one, it was there kind of for fun, for when they're overwhelmed, you know, just to give things to do. But for the intentional one, this is really important because they need to step out of their comfort zone and they need to try new things. And this could be tiny. A lot of the times people think a bucket list has to be like skydiving. You can create a bucket list for every month. Like for example, you can have something in your bucket list like, this month I want to have a picnic, or this month I want to read one nonfiction book. Like that could be your bucket list, honestly. So for the intentional one, I found that is very important, so I kept that on the main page. And then down here we have what every page has. So we have today, tomorrow, next 7 days, and overdue. And this is just a little overview of the quarterly goals. I didn't think it was as important as the yearly and life vision because the intentional one thinks more long term. So that is our 3 templates. As I said, the design is quite similar, but the databases are different and all the little page templates are different and the planning is different. Like there's little details that are different, but I'm not going to go and point out every single thing because it's not important for you as a user. But basically, if you decide to get this template, you get all 3. So you can kind of self-assign what personality you think you are based on the video that I made of the 3 personalities. And then, you know, you can try it out. And if you feel like it's not working for you, then you can just switch to another one. You get all 3. It's just like a 3-in-1. So there's going to be the links to get the templates in my description. But if you're curious, I'm going to include a little personal section. I am going to be using the visionary one because when it comes to doshas, I'm actually Vata Kapha, which is the visionary and the intentional. It's a mix of the 2. But when it comes to goal setting specifically, I am like such the visionary one. So I'm actually going to be doing a whole like little mini series of figuring out what my goals are and setting my goals. And in all those videos, I'm going to be using these templates for myself because initially I created this template for myself. Initially, I created the visionary one because that's what I needed because I am the visionary one. So I'm going to be setting up my own template and you can see those videos. You can see how I use it. We can use it together. We can go through the whole process together. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. It was a lengthy one, but I wanted to show you guys everything. If you have any questions, comment down below. I will try to answer as much as possible. Love you guys.